So, good day, class. Today, I am going to continue the discussion about adapted materials on week 6 and 7. Adapting materials, the materials and digital technology. Adapted materials means material subject to copyright and similar rights that is derived from or based upon the licensed material and in which the licensed material is translated, altered, arranged, transformed, or otherwise modified in a manner requiring permission under the copyright and similar rights held by the licensor. So, finding and choosing materials to use in classes can be a challenge. Teachers must take into account a number of things, including authenticity, the original source, the target language skills, and learners' language levels and ages. But to make it easier, the teacher should be aware of the term adapted material, which will be helpful for him or her to have an idea on what material they are going to use. So, this adapted material is based on materials already existing. It's just being copied, translated, and modified. Materials can be adapted to teach new language aspects but can also be adapted to fit learners' levels while focusing on a different skill. So we can use adapted materials to help us in teaching new language to our students. Example, we wanted our students to learn English language. So instead of making our own materials, we can simply use an already existing material which we think that relates to what we wanted to teach them. But we must make sure that we don't just copy everything. We have to change something or that we have to modify it so that it will not be called plagiarism. So material does not only be adapted just to help teachers in teaching new language or something to the students, but also to fit the level of capability of students in learning. We as a teacher must look for materials that fits to the needs of our students. The use of digital technology in language teaching has an extensive and increasingly diverse history, often divided by commentators Warshua 1996, Bax 2003, Dudney and Hackley 2012 into three phases or approaches such as restricted, open, and integrated in Bax terms. So the restricted phase is essentially learner interaction with the computer, largely through the keyboard with predetermined feedback on right and wrong answers. The next one is the open phase, which involves greater interaction with peers and using the computer for simulations, gameplay, and extended writing. And the last one is integrated approach, involving computer-mediated communication, early internet and email use, multimedia developments, and frequent interaction with other students. So before this improved technology arrives, there was diverse history of how it began. Restricted phase is when the student or teacher only interacts with the computer. Nothing more we can do with a computer rather than knowing the right or wrong answers. The open phase is the time when the people can do playing with the computer because there were installed gameplays in it. And the next phase is the integrated phase where we can access on the internet and any multimedia developments that also helps the teachers to interact with the students. So, changes in the media environment are altering our understanding of literacy and requiring new habits of mind, new ways of processing culture, and interacting with the world around us. We are just beginning to identify and assess the emerging sets of social skills and cultural competencies. we have only a broad sense of which competencies are most likely to matter as young people move from the realms of play and education and into the adult world of work and society. So there are new competencies and social skills needed to be fully involved in the digital participatory culture, such as number one is play. It is the capacity to experiment one's surroundings as a form of problem solving. The next is performance. It is the ability to adapt alternative identities for the purpose of improvisation and discovery. The third one is simulation. It is the ability to interpret and construct dynamic models of real-world processes. The fourth one is appropriation, the ability to meaningfully sample and remix media content. The fifth one is the multitasking. It is the ability of a person to scan one's environment and shift focus as needed to salient details. The sixth one is collective intelligence. It is the ability to pool knowledge and compare notes with others toward a common goal. The next one is the transmedia navigation. It is the ability to follow the flow of stories and information across multiple modalities. 8 is the networking. It is the ability to search for, synthesize, and disseminate information. And the last one is the negotiation. It is the ability to travel across diverse communities, discerning and respecting multiple perspectives, and grasping and following alternative norms. So, a participatory culture is one which members believe their contributions matter and feel some degree of social connection with one another. So, everyone involved in preparing young people to go out into the world has contributions to make in helping students acquire the skills they need to become full participants in our society. So there are three key principles outlined by Twinner et al. 2010 in relation to effective use of interactive whiteboards, and these principles hold good for all digital language learning and teaching materials. The first is the idea of multimodality. It is the facility afforded by the new media for the easy production. So, multimodality refers to the interplay between different representational modes, for instance, between images and written or spoken word. For example, in written text, the use of different fonts, styles, colors, and other formatting tools. The next is orchestration. The role of the teacher in encouraging pupil participation involves the teacher's shaping or orchestration of the numerous modes and resources. So, orchestration entails the design of the learning activity, the adaptation and planning of the activity for a specific class, and the real-time management of that activity across multiple planes and under multiple constraints. So, one of example of this class is reading. Next is the participation. Participation can relate to direct participation. So, participation is often used to refer to the interactivity of teaching strategies seen as conducive to students' motivation but without serious consequences for their influence. So one good example is the student give feedback to their fellow students based on prepared criteria. So the principle applies to all education, but perhaps is most opposite for digital language learning materials, as it is the area which is most difficult to effectively replicate in instances of asynchronous communication in which a tutor or peer is involved, or in those instances when feedback must necessarily be programmed for the computer to give. So, against the backdrop of all these digital developments are twin concerns. First, that technological innovation can often outpace pedagogical consolidation. Second, the concern that digital media is having a profound and potentially irreversible effect on learning and attitudes to it. And that would be all. Thank you for listening.